Hello and welcome to this tutorial. Alright, so today we're going to make a function that will save our model, that will save the brain of the car so that we can reuse it whenever we quit the application. Thanks to this save function, we will be able to save the model, then quit the application, and then when we go back to the application, thanks to another function that is the load function which we'll make after this one, we will be loading the last version of our model that was trained. So that will be very practical, and therefore let's make these two functions, the save function and the load function. So let's start with the save function in this tutorial. So here comes a new def, then save, and then it's going to take one argument that is going to be self. And the reason is that the thing we're going to save is not the whole model here, but our neural network, self.model, and our optimizer, self.optimizer. Because what we want to save is just the last weights that were updated at the last iteration. Because whenever we want to reuse our saved model later, we want it to predict the action to play with the weights that were already trained. So we need to take these last version of the weight, and also we need to take the last version of the optimizer because it is connected to these weights. So let's do this. We have our self, so we'll be able to take our self.model and our self.optimizer. And we will be saving these two objects in a Python dictionary. And to save these two objects, we're going to use the save function from the torch module. So I'm starting here with torch.save. And in parentheses, we are going to input that dictionary. Brackets. And a dictionary in Python works like that. You have a key, which is your identifier. So that's unique. And for each key, you have the value you want to give to that key. So it's like a mapping function from unique identifiers to a value you want to give for these identifiers. If you take a simple dictionary book, well, the keys would be the words and the values would be the definitions of the words. Well, here that's the same. We're going to make two keys, one key for the first object we want to save, which is self.model, and one second key for the second thing we want to save, that is our self.optimizer. And therefore, let's start with the first key. So we have to give a name to that key, and I'm going to call it state_dict, because then you're going to see that I'm going to use the function stateDict to save our model in the dictionary. So that's our first key. Then to give the value we want to attribute for that first key, well, as you can see, I added a little colon here, and here I'm going to add the object I want to save. So the first object I want to save is self.model. So we can just copy this, self.model, and paste it as the value of our first key, self.model. Then we add .state_dict. Here we go, the first one. And then we add some parentheses. And that will save the parameters of your model in this first key, stateDict. And now let's save our optimizer. So we're going to add a second key in the dictionary. And to do this, we add here a comma, then press enter. And there we go with our second key. So the second key we're going to call it, well, we can call it optimizer, then colon, and then we just need to add the name of the object we want to save, and that is self, that is our optimizer. So we add here self.optimizer, and then again to save the parameters of this optimizer, we add here again .stateDict. And there we go, we have our model saved with all the weights saved and our optimizer saved. Perfect. And then we will save all this into a file. And to do this, I'm going to add a second argument to this save function, which is going to be the name of this file where we want to have our model and our optimizer saved. So remember, I showed you a quick demo in the first section of this first module, self-driving car. You know, that was the demo where we just had some random actions. So that was not yet a self-driving car. But then remember, I clicked on this save button to save the model, and this created the lastbrain.pth file, which is the file that contains the saved version of your model. So I'm going to add here last_brain.pth so that your model and your optimizer will be saved into this created file lastbrain.pth. So you don't have it yet, but as soon as you save your model in the application, this file will be created, thanks to this code we just added. Alright, and so now, perfect, we have a save function that will save your model Save the brain of your car by saving the weights and the optimizer of the neural network that is in fact the brain of the car. So perfect, we now have only one function to create left, that's the load function, and that's because a save function never goes without a load function. There is no purpose saving your model if you cannot load what you save afterwards. So that's the last step in our journey before the exciting demo, and we will make this load function in the last tutorial of this section. So I'll see you in this next tutorial, and until then, enjoy AI!